All righty, so we're going to go ahead and get started. I know that there's some new, I know that there are some new faces and new names, so I will introduce myself. My name is Autumn Lavine. I work for the New York State 4-H office, and my primary responsibility is to handle our state fair coordination of 4-H programming, as well as handle international exchange programs. So those are the two things I focus on. Today, we're going to talk about state fair. This is the first kind of information session of many. I'm hoping to do one a month to keep everybody informed as things change, what's new, and as requirements come out. The good news is that we had a very, very positive meeting with State Fair Administration yesterday. And so that will continue.
Well, I just was,
as
yeah,
we
okay. I was just,
continue as we move our way through this pre-fair season, and hopefully get you guys enough information so that you're not trying to prep for state fair at the exact same time that you're trying to get through your county fairs, which often happens. Just a little bit more about my background. I am a former county educator. I was a county educator in Tioga County for 12 years before I moved up to doing what I do for the state office, and that was 8 years ago. So I've been with the system for about 20 years, and I'm a lifer in the 4-H program. I started as a 4-H member at the age of 8, and I've never left. So I'm very familiar with many, many facets of 4-H programming, and anytime you have questions, please feel free to reach out to me. I am more than happy to answer your emails or help you get connected with whoever you need to chat with. So that being said, let's jump into some of these basic things for State Fair to be thinking about right now. And to do that, I'm just going to show you the current website, and I will be asking for some feedback at the end on how I can improve the web page that we have previously used, knowing that there have been some challenges in navigating that particular page of our site. So, alrighty. So can everyone see, it says 4-H New York on their page? Is that sharing with y'all? Perfect.
It is.
Excellent. Also, please feel free to pop questions in the chat or raise your hand at any time. You don't have to feel that you need to hold your questions till the end. So this is the public-facing side of New York State 4-H's website. All information for State Fair is also public-facing. Okay, so there really isn't anything that is hidden. There are things that are password protected though. So for instance, to do dorm registration, it has to be done through an educator. It will be password protected, those types of things, okay? But on the site, in order to find State Fair information, you go to New York State 4-H events and go to State Fair, okay? We house everything for State Fair here, and there are usually links to the animal science department and what their requirements are. So it may not be posted directly on this website, but it will redirect you to where it needs to be. And I manage this page primarily with the assistance of Courtney in the state office and a few other folks. So let's start really simple and where we're at right now as far as the premium book. So the premium book is something that is actually put out by the New York State Fair. It is not something that we actually produce. It's a relationship that we have with State Fair in order to create both the 4-H Youth Building premium book and all of the animal science, the animal related show premium books. So we provide the guidance for those. And yes, we do write the one for the 4-H Youth Building because it's our program. But just know that that is something that is managed by State Fair. So where we are in the process right now, we are working on edits and getting that stuff finalized so that then it can go back to State Fair for their final review and audit. And then once State Fair finishes with their audit, then we will be able to post the 2024 premium book. What I can tell you is that as far as the 4-H Youth Building is concerned, there will be no changes to the existing classes that are in that book. The only thing that really will be new is we have added some classes for the digital artwork and those types of areas which we've been asked to do. So as that, as that technology changes, we're trying to recognize that and make sure that we're accommodating for that. So you will see that that will be a change, or an addition rather. And if you need that ahead of time, because I know many of you base your county books off of the state book, I am more than happy, as is Wendy Richardson, to send you those updated classes, so that way you have a full picture of what's available. So that's the Youth Building Premium Book. It will be posted here as a download. State Fair does not print hard copies anymore. And I know that sometimes that can cause a difficulty, but unfortunately it's a budgetary cut for them, and they decided that it would be best handled as a digital format. So it usually is in a PDF available form. So that is the premium book. I do know that Animal Science, they are working on some edits to the books. One of the things that I do want to clarify is that the superintendents that are listed in the State Fair book, so for instance, there's a beef superintendent, there is a dairy superintendent, and each of the species has their own superintendent. Those folks are hired by State Fair. They are State Fair employees, and they do work with us in order to hopefully have, to be practicing the best practices when working with youth and such. But they are not employed by the 4-H program or extension, because those are youth shows, with the exception of dogs and horses. But even those superintendents are hired by State Fair. So just a little bit of the, defining those roles. At the end of the day, if you're having difficulties, you can come speak with me. You can speak with Brian Akama, as he is kind of working most closely with the superintendents in terms of what classes should look like and how they should be handled in the best interest of our youth. We will be updating the schedule so that that will be posted here as well. So that will be the day-to-day schedule, and it will contain animal-related shows. It will contain educational experiences, youth building openings and closings, and any type of events that are going to occur during State Fair. If you're not aware, State Fair opens on the 21st of August and runs through the 2nd of September. So it is 13 straight days. And when I get to your district booths, we'll talk about move in, move out, and that kind of a thing. But just keep that on your radar. If you don't have it there already, State Fair is the 21st of August through September 2nd. Dorms. I'm not sure how we can collect this, because I know there's a lot of folks that are not familiar with our dorms. But the dorm registration and management falls to Cooperative Extension. We do that in partnership with State Fair. The building is owned by State Fair. It is managed by State Fair, and they hire the staff that work in the office of the dorm to manage that particular portion of that building. If you haven't been to the State Fair before, it's basically big rooms full of bunks, and we have lockers available for people to use. There are also shower facilities, bathroom facilities. There is a laundry, so there is washers and dryers in the dorms for those that stay for a long period of time. But it really is open, kind of open housing, more like we would see in a camp bunkhouse, just much larger. There is an exemption form for those that choose not to utilize our dorms or stay in the dairy barns. Dairy barns are the only other location on the state fairgrounds in which dairy exhibitors may stay overnight. If youth or families or volunteers are not staying in the dorms or not staying in the dairy barn, then they should have on file with you an exemption form. And I will get into more detail with this when we have our more specific sessions, but I want it to be on your radar. Those forms are held by educators. So you don't have to turn that form into anyone. It is something for you to keep on file in your office so that you know where kids and their families are staying if they're doing an extended exhibition at the state fair and require overnight stay. So if they're going to stay in a camper, they should have an exemption form on file with you. If they're staying in a hotel, they should have an exemption form on file. All of that information is available to you. Once we edit that and get it updated, Adam Davis usually handles all of that for us, and we'll get that. And this is one of those ones where your families cannot go in and register themselves to stay in the dorms. They have to go through you as the educator to have that registration happen online. There is a form that they have to have filled out, and it must be signed by an educator, an FFA advisor, a breed association manager, or the leader of the organization that is sponsoring them to be at State Fair. The reason that that signature is required is because all adults staying in the dormitories must be fully background screened. That is a requirement, has been a requirement for a long time, and we plan to continue that as a best practice for the safety of all those that are staying in the dorms. Again, I will spend another full session talking about dorms, and I do have video clips, so if you're not familiar with the space, you can see what it looks like. So that will be coming soon. So let's talk about the district booths. This is something that changed right after we came out of the pandemic. It was a planned change for quite a while, but we went to a district booth structure at the state fair. This eliminated, for those that have been here for a while, the need for counties to move in and out of their booth space during the functioning of the fair. So we used to have people, they would come for 4 days, and then you would pack up all of your stuff and you'd leave, and then the next county would move into a space. Well, now those spaces are occupied as a district, and most everybody keeps their exhibits on display for the full 13 days. So you are going to be able to move into the 4-H youth building as early as Monday afternoon before fair starts. Most of our districts and counties decide to move in on Tuesday. I move in Monday afternoon, and then I stay until the day after Labor Day. So I am asking that districts let me know their plans as to when to expect them. But you basically get a blank chunk of the floor to fill with exhibits in whatever way you would like to structure that. I will reiterate that space is limited. I have given the districts, the counties, every single square foot that I can, and the floor plan will be coming to you next week to know exactly where you will be and how much square footage you will have. I do not anticipate that there is a significant change from last year. So if you have last year's plan, you can plan on pretty much the same thing. But please let me know what your plan is in terms of when you will be moving exhibits in. We have a few counties that require either a late entry or an early exit, and that is perfectly acceptable as long as you're working within State Fair's timeframe as to when you can be on the grounds, when you can move, drive through the gates and so on and so forth. But please let me know, because if there are any difficulties or things that I have to navigate, I would like to have those conversations with State Fair administration well in advance, rather than wait until the day you're deciding to leave and then I have to call State Fair security or others on the State Fair management team to try to figure things out for you. The other thing that I would like to make sure is on everyone's radar is that your booth space is your booth space. If you have extremely large exhibits, please let me know that that is the case and that they may need additional assistance. It's much better that I know that there is an extremely large exhibit that might require a forklift or might require some additional equipment to move it, so that I can make sure that happens. Because Once that Monday rolls around, it's very hard for me to get people from maintenance, from buildings and grounds to come and focus solely on the 4-H youth building. So if we know in advance, I can let people know that. Yes, Deanna, like a giant eagle nest, which by the way, I think is still in my building and has not yet been removed. So it's one of those things where I just have to try and negotiate with State Fair to make sure we have the proper supports for all of you and making sure that you can get access to the building and you have access to whatever it is that you might require. So I think that covers most of that. It is a district discussion though. So this is something that should come up at your district meetings. If you need me to attend one of those meetings just to answer your questions or to verify information, please let me know. My schedule is fairly flexible. And so if I know, you know, a little bit in advance that you need me to attend, I'm more than happy to do so. Usually over Zoom, as I am quite a bit of ways from most of the districts, but I am happy to help. So please just keep me posted as to what's the what. Exhibit information is not going to change from the way that we handled it last year. For those that have been around for a while, no green cards at all. There is the exhibitor statement, which covers that, and a universal exhibitor form that we use for evaluation purposes. Those will be posted on this site for you to have access to. And I know that Wendy Richardson, who is in charge of our evaluations, will reach out and make sure that everybody has access to the documents that they need. That brings me to evaluations. Wendy is still looking for evaluators, especially for photography. She is in need of evaluators. She can use some evaluators for foods, and she can also, I believe, always use evaluators for fine arts and crafts. But if you have a volunteer in your county that would love to come up to the state fair, just please let Wendy know, because there's quite a bit of paperwork that she needs to do and submit to State Fair in order for those individuals to receive the necessary documents and contracts so that they can be compensated for their service as an evaluator. So our evaluators at State Fair are paid a small stipend to be there for however many days that they are needed. One thing that I can say about doing the state fair as district booths and having everyone in place for the 13 days is we have been able for the last 2 years to get through all evaluations for all projects in about a 5-day time frame. So if we have it, we can get through it pretty quickly. All right, animal science. Brian, do you want to touch on anything that's just new or what people should be keeping an eye out for? I know you messaged me and said you're on the call today.
So I think one of the key things for us as we move forward, we did, like Autumn said, we did have an in-person meeting yesterday with State Fair, which really helped us to move forward. One of the key things I would say looking forward is we will only be doing one online entry. There will not be double online entry moving forward. However, with that said, there will be some paperwork back like we did before COVID, that there will have to be some stuff mailed in for horse and dairy specifically for them. But the rest of the stuff, everything else should be pretty streamlined moving forward. And I'm hoping moving forward this year that camping will be much easier. Just in general, we're getting it down and working with State Fair in this communication much earlier than we have in the past. So fingers crossed.
Thanks, Brian. I also want to clarify a little bit because Brian is talking about an entry system. So State Fair requires that we use ShowWorks, which is their entry system for all animal entries. Okay. So animal entries have to go through State Fair's system, and you will receive more information about that once Brian and I and the animal science team have had a chance to kind of visit and send you a FAQ on what you need to look for and who needs what and so on. But that is an online system. For exhibits in the 4-H youth building, there is no online system for that. You use a hard copy paper exhibit list, which Wendy is in the process of making sure is updated and ready for this this year's fair season. And so that is still something you will have to do, is the hard copy exhibit entries for the 4-H youth building. And so keep an eye out for that. Again, you'll start seeing more and more updates through your email. And if you're not sure, please do email. We will get back to you. I know I will get back to you really quickly. I'm sure Animal Science can get back to you very quickly. And again, if you're not sure who to ask, just shoot me an email and I can help you figure out who you need to talk to if you're not sure. And I know Brian can do the same thing. If you're not sure who to talk to in terms of Animal Science, just shoot him an email and he can help you get in contact with who you need to speak with. So I think that covers the entry portion of this and Animal Science. And like I said, those edits are in progress. And as soon as State Fair finishes the audit, once we send them our revisions, then we will be able to share those premium books with you, which then you can share with your families, your participants, however you choose to do that in your county. The information also should be posted on State Fair's website as well. So more to come on that, but do keep an eye out for that. Results, I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on that, but we are working on a system to try and get results in as real time as possible posted to the website, because State Fair tends to take a little bit longer to post results than what we have the capabilities of. So like I said, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that, but we're hoping to get those things posted. So now comes to the point where we talk about the youth opportunities at State Fair. And this is really what I wanted to kind of dig into a little bit today, so that you're aware of what your kids can do when they come to State Fair. Because right now is the time that families are planning for the summer and they're trying to figure out what they're going to do, where they want to be, what they want to participate in, when they're going to have vacations, those types of things. So one of the things that we do offer in the 4-H youth building, and a few of our animal superintendents also take advantage of this. I know that horse utilizes junior superintendents. I believe the goat program has had a junior superintendent occasionally, but that's something you have to talk to each of the superintendents about in order to see if that's something that's available. What is a junior superintendent? Well, a junior superintendent is a teen, usually between the ages of 16 and 19, that are 4-H members that have an interest in working at the state fair and learning job responsibilities, learning how to work as part of a team. They do get a daily stipend that's paid out as a premium. So it's not a lot, but the main reason they're there is to learn. So in the 4-H youth building, I usually look to hire between 12 and 14 kids to work in my building for some combination of days. If this is their first time being at the state fair, then I recommend that they work just a 7-day stretch. If they've been there before and have worked as a junior super, then I can usually offer them the full 13-day stretch. But it's really something that I talk to each of the kids about. I have sent invitations out to all of last year's junior superintendents that worked in the 4-H youth building, but I will definitely be looking for more kids. So this is the first opportunity, but only one of many where kids can participate at State Fair. This is just kind of the one that kind of is the top of the tops. If they're looking for living at State Fair, learning to work as a team, learning how to communicate, working with evaluators, working with all the people that come in and out of my building for exhibiting and showing what they do, the Cornell partners, all of those types of things, the junior supers work with me to make the building run smoothly. It's similar in the animal world, although it's more specific. So usually junior supers help manage shows, or they're running paperwork, or just assisting the superintendent in whatever capacity that superintendent needs assistance with. It's basically they become our eyes, our ears, our extra arms, our extra legs, that kind of thing. Because I'm one person and I can only be in one place at a time. As much as some folks might like me to be in several, it's just not, scientifically or physically possible at this particular time. So those are junior superintendents. We also have youth and teen leaders. So at the state fair, kids can come and they can work in different capacities. Kids can come and work in different capacities. I'm sorry, I've got some sort of cat war happening behind me. I don't know what's going on. So youth leaders are those kids that are usually ages 8, 9-ish to 12. We're working on clarifying those ages right now to make sure that everybody is on the same page between animal science and the 4-H youth building. So there are younger youth. They can work in your county booth to do activities, because one of the expectations is that we have hands-on activities available for the general public to do as they come through the 4-H youth building. That can be any kind of activity. There really is no parameter as far as what you can do. If you're not sure, just ask me if I think it's appropriate or how it can be done. So those younger youth can definitely work in your booth space, start getting a feel for State Fair, but they're not expected to work a full 6-hour day. They're expected to kind of work half of that, and they can get a daily stipend for that. Teen leaders have more variety, more options available to them. So these are our older kids, usually 13 to 19, and they can assist with evaluations. They work side by side with our evaluators and learn how to evaluate projects, learn how to give feedback, learn how to make decisions, and that becomes a mentoring type relationship. Teen leaders can also work in other areas of the building, such as our shooting sports booth. We're usually and always looking for teens that want to work there. We have a cynology booth, which is a dog booth, where we're looking for kids that like to work in that space. We need poultry kids. We need kids that are willing to help with events and things that happen in our space. And they can also work in the booth space. They get a little bit of a higher stipend, because they're expected to work 6 hours, a minimum of 6 hours. So you can structure that however you like. I know the question comes up, well, who supervises these kids? That is up to you and your district and your county to figure out how they shall be supervised. They can be chaperoned by a volunteer. They can be chaperoned by a parent. They can be chaperoned by an extension educator if that is the way that your county chooses to handle that. But there's a lot of options. What we don't do is I am not their supervisor, and I am not the one that oversees the kids when they are there working in one of these capacities. There is, I believe, a whole list of things that they can do that you can find here on the website. I'm hoping to change this. I want your feedback at the end of this call. But with these pop-up windows, there are little arrows here off to the side. And I know this is where some people got confused last year because they didn't feel they could find all of the information. And I very much understand the frustration. That's why I'm asking for some feedback today. But you click on that and it talks about all the different options. So teen evaluators, 4-H cynology booth, GPS, GIS, which we will have at least this year. I have spoken with Susan Hoskins, and we will be facilitating some aspect of the GPS, GIS booth once again for 2024. Shooting sports, I believe they will have the archery, the indoor inflatable archery range that will be there. So that's usually what we're looking for kids to help that, because that's where the public can give it a try, you know, pick up the bow and arrow, get a little bit of instruction, aim it at the target, and they can do that in the building. They also get to be across the way from the baby chicks. That is one area where we always need a lot of youth. Everybody wants to touch the baby chicks, and we will be having the baby chicks in the building again this year. We're in the process of negotiating a few things, but that will happen. So if you got kids that just want to talk to the public about chickens, this is the place to be. We look for event assistants, which I'm going to talk about those events in a little bit. So that's where that information can be found. There's a lot of opportunity there in terms of those leadership positions while at the state fair. So I'm going to come up here to this guy here, youth building events and activities. This is where I wanted to dig in a little bit, give you some information that I have for today, and also what I am looking for. So I have been in contact with every coordinator for events that we have had in the past and a couple of new options that may be available to youth. This is set up similarly right now to the way the previous one is, where you have to click on this little arrow to find all of the opportunities. I know that we will have some form of public presentations at the state fair. This has yet to be confirmed. So please stay tuned on that one. I'm waiting for additional information, as there are some things that are changing in terms of the public presentation invitational and what the Communications Institute looks like and so on. So please stay tuned for that one if you have kids that would like to give public presentations at a public presentation invitational. We will have the WEP competition. The WEP competition is going to happen on the 23rd. So Friday, August 23rd will be the WEP competition for this season. Information and registration will be posted as soon as I get that from John Bowe and I finalize the details as to how he wishes to have kids register. We will have the Great 4-H Cook-Off. That is facilitated by Vicki Fleming, who does a wonderful job at that. There are descriptors and there are flyers that will give you more information about these programs if you are not familiar with them. So the cook-off is where you get a team of kids together. They come up, they're given a fair hot dog, but they have to somehow turn it into a more healthy option. And so we give them a basic pantry, we give them some other ingredients, and they try to come up with a new recipe. And then that's presented to a panel of judges for taste testing and that type of a thing. So there's different levels of involvement in this program, but that is right now scheduled to happen on Sunday, August 25th. And that has been confirmed with Vicki. Come on, I went to sleep. The 4-H Cupcake Showdown. This was something we were going to do in 2023 as a brand new program. We did not have enough youth to offer this. And so it was postponed. And this program is in question at the moment. We would love to see it happen, but I need a leader for this. It can be a volunteer, it can be an educator. I have been able to get all the information from Renee Hopkins, who was in Livingston County. If this is something you're interested in, please reach out to me. I would love to be able to offer this to our youth, but I need a coordinator for this event. If this event does happen, it is scheduled for August 31st. So keep that in mind. Really what it is the kids come, they receive a dozen cupcakes and the ingredients and the things to decorate, and they're given some parameters to decorate them, and they can either do it as an individual or a team. It's whatever the coordinator decides, and there's an evaluation process that they go through after they complete the technical part of the challenge. So if you are interested in this or you would like more information, please reach out to me. I would love to have a conversation, and I would love to see this happen at State Fair. The fashion and textile review will happen. Christina Gabalski has again agreed to kind of head this up and lead this program in the 4-H Youth Building. This is more than just wearable garments. This has been expanded to include the textile portion of what kids can do for their exhibits in the 4-H Youth Building. They also have a partnership and a relationship with Cornell University's fashion department. So there is a connection there. We last year had a really great showing of students from that school that came to State Fair, talked to our kids, and it was a wonderful experience for all of them. That competition is scheduled for September 1st. So fashion review, textile review will be September 1st. The Egg Chef Challenge, these are poultry specific, but we do hold them in our building. Marianne Whipple is the superintendent for that. So she handles Egg Chef prep. She handles turkey and chicken barbecue. Those competitions happen on August 30th. It's a Friday. If you want more information, please click on the flyer for that or reach out to Marianne. She can tell you about that. But this this particular competition, this is very much about the individual and their presentation. And this is what allows them to potentially qualify to represent New York State in Kentucky when they go for Poultry Bowl, Avian Bowl, like all of those things that are within the livestock realm. They have the potential to go on to Kentucky. So there's chicken and turkey barbecue. Produced in New York, I am looking for a coordinator. Really, this coordinator just handles setting up registration, is there on the day of the competition, and helps make sure that things run smoothly. Again, accepts the registrations, make sure the kids get checked in, that type of a thing. But we are looking for a coordinator for this. If I do not have a coordinator, this program cannot happen at State Fair, because we just don't have the capacity for it without a leader in this position. I have all of the necessary information for this. So if this is something that is of interest to you, please let me know. I can help guide you through the process if it's something totally new to you. And we do have educators that have participated in this program in the past and can help us with this, but I need a lead person. So that right now is scheduled to happen August 28th and August 29th. But that's only if we can get a coordinator. So have that in mind. Avian Bowl is another one of those things that actually happens in the youth arena, as does other livestock competitions. Again, where they're qualifying to go to another level. We do have the dog photo, video, and poetry contest that is run through Kathy Chambly in partnership with the animal science team. So there is information here on that. Kids just email their photos, they email their they email their poetry and their stories to Kathy. It gets this one is a little different because it's evaluated by the public. The public, it's a People's Choice Award kind of a thing. And so they will all get posted at State Fair. The kids get paid a premium for having their items on exhibit. And then the winner is chosen by the public that goes through the building. That is not something that is one day specific. It is something that is on display for the entirety of fair. And then we're back to public presentations. So that's all of these in a nutshell. We do have one new competition that will be head up by Kat Leo, and I'm drawing a blank.
Nicole.
Thank you. And Nicole Fiorentino.
I was going to say me.
They are going to be offering some activity event. We're not sure yet exactly what it is, but it will be in relation to esports. And I don't know if you guys want to jump in and say anything just yet.
Yeah, I can hop in. So
Okay.
far I've started discussing it with the kids a little bit. We're basically just gonna offer the stage and do a tournament style competition. We invite the kids to come in, interact with our youth, play some games and everything. I'm still trying to figure out if we want to do an actual tournament or if we want to keep it more casual and, you know, just invite kids to come relax, play games and get to know what we do. So we'll have more information for that soon. Just trying to figure out what the best logistically wise would work out best.
Yep. And I can say that in my conversations with Kat and Nicole is that is whatever that will morph into and look like. Stay tuned for that. But that will be held on August 22nd in the 4-H Youth Building. So at least everybody, I'm hoping to get you, these dates so that everybody is aware of that. I do have some stage space that is available. There are days that the stage is not going to be in use. I say that because in the past, it has not been very clear to educators that they can reserve the stage for something that they want to do with the youth from their county or maybe from their district. So for instance, Delaware County in the past has reserved the stage for a day to do public presentations for just their county's kids. That is absolutely a possibility. But then again, the times and spaces for the stage are first come, first serve. So if you have something in your county that you think will get your kids to come up to State Fair, even for that one day that you would like to show off on the stage, please give me a shout out and let's talk about that. Maybe you have a drama club that would like to do a presentation of skits or something like that, or someone out there wants to organize a talent show. We can absolutely entertain that. It's just a matter of, I need to have an understanding of what your needs will be. Charles, I don't have it as a list just yet, but I'm hoping to have that ready to send out next week when I send out the booth footprints and what kind of space everybody is gonna have. So more to come. It should come next week, as long as I can get through a few other things that are pending at the moment. Brian, do you want to touch just a little bit on the livestock competitions that are available at State Fair for kids?
Yeah, so a lot of our areas or animal science areas have competitions that go along with them, right? There's several that are national contests that the kids eligible to go to nationals, and then there are several that are local, that are there for educational purposes. The GOAT program has from Goat Bowl to product identification and tastings, all the way to our beef does some quality assurance stuff that's been involved. As far as our nationals and Autumn, Jess is on, and I will actually turn it over to Jess in a quick second. She can talk about horses. But in dairy, we've got the judging that actually we send 5 teams to nationals with dairy cattle judging. We have the dairy challenge that we'll send a team to Harrisburg off that from on those. So that's in dairy. In livestock, we do have the livestock skill-a-thon and the livestock judging competition that we send kids on to the national competition for. This year, you should see, or should be seeing in your region, the skill-a-thon that's coming out, as we're doing regional skill-a-thons to kind of prepare the kids a little bit better for state and national level competitions. In the poultry, Jen Schwab is on, and Jen is my coordinator for a lot of the poultry events at the state level. We have a poultry science contest that the kids can participate in, and actually we can send the kids on to state to the national level, that not just poultry science, which is kind of poultry judging, where they look at just carcass, animal evaluation, etc. We also have poultry bowl that take place at State Fair. So there's a lot of educational events that go beyond what Autumn talked about in the building, that the kids can take the next step and really go into the national level and have that experience on there. So Jess, do you want to quickly talk about horse?
Yeah, so we will have the horse judging and hippology contest that first Sunday of State Fair again. Yeah, the first Sunday. And then with that, we are working on coordinating a horse bowl invitational. We had been trying to pair it with the hippology and judging day. Our horse bowl coach is considering that again this year, but also considering some other ideas as well to maybe make it a little more open to, like, if kids from the public want to participate and kind of go over novice questions and learn what horse bowl is. So we're still playing around with that idea and working that out. And then horse communications will do their invitational as well. That's normally during the week. In Autumn, I will reach out with you or to you about that now that Sarah's back into the swing of work after maternity leave. So that's normally during the week. No, it's normally a weekend. All my dates are mixing up. It's normally the Saturday before hippology and judging. So that will be offered, and Sarah reaches out to those youth individually for that invitational. And I think for right now, we do have some more exciting things for State Fair that we will be sharing here in the next couple of weeks as we finish ironing them out, but not quite ready to release all of that yet. But those 4 contests will be at State Fair like normal, and we should be releasing the invitational information here pretty soon.
I would just add to what Jess is saying. A lot of our contests we do in collaboration with FFA. So a lot of our events we do in collaboration with FFA. So a lot of times kids will ask if they can double dip. And we do allow that in some of our contests, that the kids can actually do livestock judging for 4-H and FFA at the same time. It's a little bit logistics as far as our coordinators end, but we do allow that. So if you've got kids that are coming for FFA for some of these contests, and they'd also like to come to 4-H, we're working on making that more of an opportunity for our kids so that they can do the contest for both youth areas.
And so I think that also lends itself to just, for those that may not be aware, what happens in the 4-H youth building is 4-H specific. What happens in the FFA building is FFA specific. Everything else other than horses and dogs are youth shows. So they are open to FFA youth, 4-H youth, breed association youth, as long as they've got someone to certify that they qualified to be at State Fair. There will be more on that as Brian and I work through the FAQ and what you need to know in terms of paperwork. Okay. But just so that you're aware, a lot of the competitions, the knowledge competitions are open to FFA and 4-H youth. All of the animal science shows, I should just say animal shows, they're not necessarily animal science, but the animal shows are youth shows, which means our 4-H members are participating with youth from other organizations. Again, the only ones of the animals that are 4-H specific and only 4-H members can participate in is the dog show and the horse show. So just so that we have those. Good question, David. So David is asking in the chat, where will FFA be? So FFA, for those of you that don't know, used to have a building. That building no longer exists. It has been torn down. And they're hoping to have the new construction done by 2025, but we're not sure exactly when that will be completed. And as many of you know, or may have heard, there are no horse barns. That was torn down. The sheep have been in a tent. Well, the sheep, the horses, and FFA will be housed in tents once again. The good news is that with the demolition of the FFA building, it has created the clean slate that State Fair needed on the west end of the grounds for them to be able to hopefully pour the footprint pads for the new buildings by the time fair rolls around. So there still will not be buildings there, but they are now at a point where they should be able to pour the pads for the new pole barns and however else it has been configured for the sheep and the wool center and the horse barns. So this all changes. It changes at the regular. Like we can't really tell you what I'm saying today is set in stone because it absolutely is not. But that is what we know as of yesterday and my conversation briefly with Christina Tufts, who is our entry department and ag department connection at State Fair. Okay. So now I'm going to take a little bit of time and just open the floor up for questions. And also I would love if someone has a suggestion about something specific on the website that either does work for them or absolutely does not work for them as I start working on rebuilding this web page to hopefully make it easier for folks to find information. So please feel free to raise a hand or pop questions in the chat. Or just unmute and ask. Nobody? Wow. All right.
It's pretty easy to navigate. I mean, everything is there.
So here's my question to the group, because I know that this was one of the things that I did get complaints in the moment about. And that is this: when you click on more info, you get these light boxes and then you have to navigate through each competition. Is that more confusing? Does it work? That's what I was wondering. Thank you, Audrey. So that makes sense, but I really want to tailor how you're getting information to your needs. And I recognize I can't fix and address every single individual need, but if there's a way that I can make it just easier, because we already know everybody has a complicated job, a complicated life. Like that's the way it is. You're very busy. And I recognize that. And so I don't want this to be a point of frustration or stress when trying to find information. So I really want to cut down on, if anybody is feeling that way, please let me know so that I can fix it, and try to make it, workable for as many people as possible. Okay. Okay, great. So, maybe it is just a matter of when it says more info, it's a page rather than something you have to scroll through. So I think that's a fair suggestion. Anything else that folks have questions about or curious about or think that, could be done a little bit better?
This is Jane from Dutchess County.
Hi, Jane.
Hi, I'm with Emma, so you can't see me because I'm on the Emma's tab. So I have a question about the exhibit hall list of exhibits that we submit in triplicate. Would it be easier to have like a Cornell box folder that we could drop those in rather than emailing you everything individually? And then, I mean, we obviously print a copy off and send it up with whoever brings them. It just seems like you're getting bombarded with so many different emails at different times for those. And that way we could also edit them and not have to send you a whole new copy every time,
Yep.
like when they change.
Yes, and I think that's a fair point, Jane. I know that Wendy and I had briefly spoken about that, and honestly, when we got your exhibit lists, we were loading them to a box for her and I to have access to. So I think that's something to discuss with Wendy. I know Wendy is out for a little bit, but she will be back very soon to address these things. But I will make note of that, Jane, and if we can make it easier for folks, we're more than happy to do that. Okay.
And hopefully we could make it then easier for you as well, because you
Mhm.
wouldn't be getting a gazillion different emails at different times.
Yep. Absolutely.
Thanks, Autumn.
Yes, I appreciate the suggestion, Jane. So anything that we can do to help, like I said, what works for one may not work for all, but I'm more than happy to hear suggestions on what we think might work a little bit better. Thanks, Brian. So how well does the app work? David asked, how well does the app work? So it depends on how well I keep up with the edits. So something to be aware of is that when I'm building the web page, it also builds the what you can see on your phone. Okay, so if it's through the app or whatever that is, if you have it on your phone. It's a little tricky because yes, it builds them together, but they have to be edited separately. So if you find something that you're not able to access, or you have a family that is like, we are trying to get this on our phone, as we know, many people do a lot of their stuff from their phone, okay, not necessarily their PC. So if you let me know that someone is having a difficulty with the mobile version of the website, I will see if I can fix that. So I do have the access to do that. It's just I don't use my phone like that. And so I don't always think about checking the formatting for the mobile side of the site. Okay. So just keep me in the loop. I do my best. And I know Courtney helps with that, to try and keep it user friendly in both ways, but just let us know anytime there are problems. Okay. Because we'll do our best to try and fix it. And if they ultimately can't access it on the app, let's try to figure out a way to get the information to them. Okay. I want everybody to have the information that they need. So you just got to let me know what is working and maybe what is not working. More importantly, what is not working, so that I can address that and I can get that fixed. Because if one person is having a difficulty, the likelihood of multiple people having difficulties is pretty good. They just might not say anything. So just let me know. All right. Other questions that folks may have. Again, there will be more sessions that are very specific state fair topics, but I'm more than happy to answer any questions that popped into your head today. Okay. Well, I want to thank everybody for taking the time to pop on today. As soon as this recording is processed, I will get it posted to our YouTube channel and share the link to that so that you can use it as a reference point and double check on anything that you might have, not sure you heard it correctly, or, anything like that. Please feel free to email me. My email is aml84. I will put it in the chat. And I'm more than happy to help with anything that you might have questions with or you need clarification on. But this is still fairly early in terms of state fairs timeframe. So getting a lot of solid answers right now is a bit difficult. They become more solid and more stable as we move closer to state fair. But I also want to alleviate some of the stress I know you all feel when all of the state fair information comes out and you're in the middle of your county fair. So that's not productive and helpful either. And I'm trying to avoid that. So please reach out, let me know what you need help with. And that's all I have for you today. So thank you so much. And I hope you all have a fantastic day and an even better weekend.